Hi there guys, and welcome to another Team Soul Forge video. So here's a deck profile for Soul Saver Turbo. I entered this in a tournament, came first, so that's going to be quite good. I'll go into my matchups at the end, but let's just quickly go in deck profile. Now normally I'm going to start with the grade phrase, but actually I kind of have to cover one particular card, which is Bark Goal being my starter. And the reason I need to cover this first is because this card literally makes the deck go off. Your starter is the most important thing in this deck. So let's explain why, shall we? So Barkgold's ability is you rest, and you can call a Floggle or another card called Future Night Lou. Let me just get them out for you. They are crit triggers. So here we are. So the key reason why this is important is because Bark Goal can rest, call out one of these two, right? And then Future Night Lou, with all three of these on board, can make you Superior Ride Blaster Blade, which is very, very important. So now you kind of know about the Superior Ride combo if you did not play in the OG era and whatnot when that was around. Then you know now. So yeah, Bark Goal is my starter. Cool. And obviously very good card. The only problem is if you do go against a retire deck, if it gets sniped, it does slow your deck down quite a bit. But hey, that just happens, you know, saying it's starter reliant. Okay. Anyway, main source of deck for Soul Saver Dragon gives 15,000 to 6 units for Soul Blast 5, and when it attacks, it gets to Soul Blast. Like I said, with Bark Goal, with Bark Goal's strategy to Superior Blaster Blade, it will give you a guaranteed 5 cards in Soul, with this being the ride. So you can't get any better than that. Which is quite nice. And obviously you do need the ability of a kill shot. And what better than our good friend Palamedes. So Palamedes is quite nice because not only for just a ride or a call, you'd prefer to call it, obviously not ride it. You get a Soul Charge 1, and also you get to every time you Soul Blast one card, it gets plus 5,000. Soul Blast 5 is an extra 25,000, as it says on the card. So aka when Soul Saver uses its skill, it'll get 15, and then it'll get an extra 25. So it just makes even more numbers, which is quite good. And then this card here I played is Aphrodite at 2. Now people will be shocked about this at tournament, and yeah, I'm not surprised. It's Alfred Early who uses that these days. Anyway, the reason being for why I chose to run Alfred Early was purely because I figured after my big Soul Blast turn, if I didn't have a card that I could use to go into, that I couldn't do another Soul Saver turn or whatever, if I had a Blast Blade in Soul or one in hand, ride, gets 10k power and draw a card. It has extra push possibilities as well. If you combine that with Floor Pal and Floggle, it would be quite good on a Force 2 marker. So that's my grade phrase. Right, so let's talk about our ace, our avatar, Royal Paladin best unit. Probably not, but you know, nonetheless. We run 4 Blast Blade. It's when you've got 4 more rear guards, 4 more rear guards, you get a crit, and obviously count +1 Soul Blast when you get the retire front row. You're never really going to do that much unless it's really necessary that you need to, for some reason, retire something. Usually mean for the crit, and since because of Bark Goal Superior Ride, you're guaranteed to ride this. Which also, since this deck is Royal Paladin, you can Superior Call, This can allow you to potentially, potentially invest a bit into the game for that extra crit. And to help make that happen, we have High Dog Breeder Akane. So Akane is very important. The reason I think Akane is kind of important is obviously because you want a spear called Pongal. Pongal is an amazing just 8k soul charge. Effectively, it's guaranteed CB1 soul charge. And you thin out your deck, and deck thinning is deck winning. She also gets 3k power for when she attacks as well. So with Pongal boosting, she's at 21k column, which is quite nice. And obviously, like I say, if you invest into doing that, it helps sets off Blaster Blades into that 2 units. Means you only need to call 2. And whatnot. So very, very good. And then next one is Loading Angel. Now, particularly the reason why Loading Angel is here is because kind of again on the Blaster Blade, the extra crit thing. I thought to myself, well, if you call out 2 extra units, you need to be able to bring. You got to make sure that turn obviously commits. But obviously by calling a Loading Angel and one other card, let's say we call extra Pongal, Soldier is 1, sweet. So you've got your 4 units. Now this being your 4th unit, its skill specifically states if you have 5 units, right? If you have 5 units, at the end of the turn, counter +1, draw 2. So those 2 extra cards that you put down, you get them back into your hand effectively, and then you also get your drive check, so you get a +1, which is quite nice. And I think Loading Angel in this deck, is because of how much you have to invest into the board, is great for some recovery, which is quite nice. Next slot is your 4 Pongal. Pongal is stable in this, obviously, for Akane, and obviously it's just literally a free soul charge. And if you get a trigger, an extra 5k. Ideally, you don't want to soul charge trigger, of course, but if you do, at least you know you're getting something for it, right? Then we've got Pure Bright Unicorn. Pure Bright Unicorn is quite nice. Just an extra 5k power for 5 units on the board, and as well as you've got your entire front row. You have an entire front row. It gets the soul charge. So I wasn't able to get the English out there, And then 4 perfect guards. Now the ones that I've chosen to use is the Ride and Draws. I originally planned on using Isolde. However, I did start thinking, oh, well, this is a combo piece deck, and as we'll get to, it's obviously going to be a crit heavy deck. It doesn't run any draws, and I thought to myself, oh god. So I know it's not much, but at least if I do ride it, I do get to draw 1, discard 1, and it's not as great when you've got a V series starter, but nonetheless it does help dig that extra weight. And this card actually won me a game, funny enough, by just riding it, which I'll get into explaining my matchups afterwards. But yeah, good stuff. Right, so let's get on to the triggers. Right, so we got for this guy. He is your stride fodder, which is quite nice. Obviously, you want 4 for maximum chance of striding. 4 Floor Paladin Flogel, because it's Floor Paladin Flogel. Counter +1, restand Blaster Blade. Never used it, but hey, it's there. It helps. Eventually, I'm sure. Actually, I say I never used it. I got to boost of it once, but they died. Yep, so 3 Flogel and 1 Future Knight Lu. You can Superior Call Future Knight Lu right off Barkov, right off the bat. So that's good. Like, just get it out of the way and then you go for Flogel next. So in my case, just draw your Flogel. And then after that, 4 heals. It's heals. Simple. The extra shield helps, and G Guardians, of course. And let's go now to our lovely G Zone. So we have 2 Gants a lot. So for one, for the resist on Blaster Blade against Kagura matchups, and also with the way that with the way things are with Alfred early as well. If I ride Alfred early, Gancelot is an extra counter charge, which can help with Floor Pal and Flogel because this deck does counter blast a lot. So the extra counter charge can help. Yeah, which is pretty good. Right, and then the next one is the Premium Collection 2019 Stride, which is Divine Knight of Twin Absolutes, Saint of Twins, basically Twin Sword, simple as, long ass name. Basically, when you attack with it and it's boosting, it's got a booster, Counter Blast 1, Superior Core 2 grade 2s from deck, so this helps with multi-attacking. Key thing about this guy that's really important is he gains 5, your rear guards that you call gain 5k per flipped up card in G Zone, and that doesn't just count the grade 2s that he calls. So if you go, for example, this guy, you attack with your 2 rear guards, and you say you got 2 face up cards in your G Zone already, right? So when you attack with this guy, you're going to call out, let's say, an Akane and Blaster Blade. Now that Blaster Blade is going to get plus 10,000 power, and that Akane is going to get plus 10,000 power. And then because it's still within the same turn, when you superior call, so same battle phase, not turn, when you call out a Pongal, that Pongal is going to get an extra 10k. Because it's literally everything during the time it's attacked and it's superior called, it gets power. So it's pretty sweet. It can get some massive numbers. That card was pretty much the only reason I was winning with Alfred in Team League. And then we got Holy Dragon, Crystal Luster Dragon. Yeah, that was it. Got 4. It's lovely looking card, isn't it? So basically, it just copies the heart of the thing that you're doing. So just kind of bring it back to the grade 3s here. Give me a minute. So it can become one of these 3, whichever one's on my Vanguard. This is the only one that you care about, Soul Saver Dragon. These 2 are dead. Like, don't use it on this. Like, I mean, its GB3 skill can work, so maybe you can do it on that, but not for the skill of it, do you know what I mean? And Palamede is the same thing. It's just, you just want to be using it. Copy Soul Saver. I don't know if you saw it, and if you did watch it, I did a BCS homebrew kind of like series, and I took for the BCS a Soul Saver turbo deck because I thought if I just high roll, go first, I just blow these decks out of the water. I got DI for the matchup, and I never played tested against DI, so I didn't know what to do for the whole tournament. It was literally the only deck I went against. But yeah, so if I had just like somehow had future to know this card was coming, I'd have waited, because it makes Soul Saver Turbo playable and it's amazing. And its GB3 skill is if you have 3 or more grade 2 units, they have to guard with 3 cards in hand at the same time. It's very important to notice that Vanguard counts as a unit, so you can just have 2 grade 2s or higher on your rear guards, on your front row rear guards, and your Vanguards are also going to count as a unit, which is very important for that, for knowledge for that, because I've seen people make that mistake and kind of like lose the game because of it. We have Agnos and Ultima. I never went into them at all, but they're good to have for situations. Agnos, I'm not entirely sure what situation, but I'm sure there's one. and Ultima's the same, I guess. I guess if I know I can't, the other stride, Crystal Luster, isn't gonna kill, then I think these guys are gonna, the Ultima's gonna be the kill shot. But as of now, this deck's still in early playtesting. The tournament, I'm kind of like reporting it just because the deck did surprisingly well, and I think it's finished to the main deck aspect. I just need to kind of tweak maybe a few things I can add to improve it. But with the G Zone, that's the part that needs the most tweaks, I think. We've got Dismal, protecting Blast Blade and Palamedes, Ractome, discard and draw a card, which is nice. For the odd situations I'm on Alfred earlier, I get to PG from deck, and not got one, but 2 mass goals because it's the most generic Royal Paladin stride we have. Literally, it may be just an unflipper, but all I need is a front row rear guard, and these 2 are just there for situations, and that's if I'm riding Alfred early, like I say. Because it does unfortunately require Alfred or Blaster. But hey, you know, at the end of the day, I'm sure it's got situations. Other than that, it's just flip fodder. Okay, so with that in tow, as it were, let's go on to our matchup. So, if you guys are not interested in that in any capacity, then I wish you the best. Hope you guys all stay safe and all that during this time, and I will catch you all in another video. And if you guys, we'll just put that there. And if you guys are interested in hearing the matchups and explanation, then here you go. Just gonna put that there just for a bit of just something to have a bit of a screen to look at. Anyway, it's messing me up now. Come on, let's make it nice. Right. Okay, so let's talk about how this tournament is run. So as you know, COVID is about, and this does make it a bit difficult for certain people to host tournaments. And the place I went to was Darksphere, Shepherd's Bush. And this top was not really that big a deal. And obviously any top with Soul Saver is a big deal in my opinion. But that's because Soul Saver is a very odd deck to do. But with the new stride, obviously it allows it to become more of a thing. Right, so the way it was a round robin and it was a 4-person tournament. They did have more people for tournament, but what they were doing is they were taking 4 people each time and putting them into pods, effectively. So so we had only 8 people, and so they were split between 2 groups, so 4-person each one. So there were only little localized tournaments. While yes, I admit it's not nice just having a 4-person tournament because you want to test your strength against everyone else. I think actually the strategy they were doing was very smart. I think it was amazing. And I had a lot of fun nonetheless. Obviously you're going to wear your mask. And there was no cutting or any of that stuff at all either. So talking about... Now let's go on to the actual matchup for it. Just clear that up. It's not a big tournament. It was actually only 4 people. That's including myself. So it was only 3 rounds of best of 3. So we had... okay, so I had a situation because Owen, if you remember him on the channel, he literally ran late. Very, very late. So I basically had a buy, technically, and I was there and I was just sitting there watching the other 2 people have a game. It's cool. But then Owen finally shows up, enters the tournament. But because of the time he showed up, our game was restricted to a best of 1, which was obviously not what this tournament was meant to be. It was meant to be best of 3, but like I say, he ran late. And due to my fury of the situation, and I won. I'm not surprised. So basically, a lot of the game proceeded to do Bark Goal. He was playing Tachikaze, and he added a Gaia like little thing to it. So like I remember he rides up. So he goes first. He rides up. He calls up, and then he like calls Prison Bird, searches for Gaia, and I'm like okay. And then it's like okay, sure, fine. And the game kind of proceeds a little bit. It's not much. He doesn't really do anything. He kind of just plays the game normally. Swings in. Got me to like 4 damage. And then I'm like, cool. There was no threat really at all. I didn't feel threatened. And then I went ride Soul Saver Dragon after I've done my superior combo and all that stuff. And then I'm just like, stride. Call a bunch of cards. Soul Blast 5. Boom. Kill. He was on like 1 damage, and I used Force 2, and I took him to 6. So dealt him 5 damage that turn. I did also drive check crit if I remember correctly. I think I remember correctly. It was I drove checked 2 Floor Paladin Flogels, and just killed him right off. So there was that. So that was our game 1, and unfortunately only that. Just the 1 round. The one game for that round. But we'll probably try and do like a match at some point. Then we had what was it? And then I went against another person called Jordan who was playing Riviere. Riviere was very interesting to see. Well, then again, since I've played against Matt so much, I know how Riviere works. I high roll anyway, so I'm going first. But he then does his like Taurus Twa kind of like thing, and it was very typical. He didn't really do much anything like special in that game. He got to stride first. He got me to 5. I then went Soul Saver, then I strode, and I also like committed my entire hand, had 10 cards in Soul, and I did, and also I know that was in game 2, but in this one I just went my Soul Blast 5 and killed him outright. He just didn't have the shield, to be honest, simple as. But in game 2, that's when like I had this terrible brick. I had 2 Palamedes, Soul Saver Dragon, the grade 1 PG, and Soul Saver, 2 Palamedes, grade 1 PG, and I had an Alfred early. And then, so anyway, start my turn, I drew into a heal trigger, and then I remember riding the PG, and I drew Alfred early. Oh my god, I discarded one of them. And then like, because he went, what was it? Trying to think, it was, so after that anyway, so my brain was just trying to remember. So anyway, I went first, by the way. So then that was like it. He goes for his turn. Eventually, I do my superior ride and whatever. So the game pretty much goes on. He does Twa, goes into Riviere stride. So I went grade 2 Blast Blade, right, with the superior ride. And then like he was just doing a normal stride. He didn't do the Twa superior stride. So with that kind of being said, I then just was like, okay, cool, take me to 5. Sure, whatevs. Then I go into my stride with a Soul Saver, and I just literally look at my hand. It's full of soul charging ability, and I just literally committed. Got to Soul Blast. I got to Soul Blast 10 with 2 Palamedes on the front row. So that was like they were like 93,000 by themselves, and one of them had a Force 2. I swang with Soul Saver. to his a swing with Soul Saver to his face, and he has a PG, and I remember him seeing a PG on his drive check, and I'm thinking, okay, you're going to PG this. Anyway, he no guards it, and I drive check a crit and kill him anyway. So I was like, cool, yeah, sweet. And that was the main thing about it. Nothing special. That was a fun match. I really enjoyed that game. And then the final opponent I had was Mohammed. And we don't. Anyway, this is a Mohammed that's actually been to Worlds. I can't pronounce your last name, mate. I really wish I could. Anyway, he's actually also appeared in Solomon Vanguard's videos a few times. It's that Mohammed, the one, the only, the one that plays OTT or Genesis. It's really amazing for OTT. And I haven't fought against the guy in quite some time, and it was nonetheless a really, really fun fun fight nonetheless. Anyway, so game 1, I blew him out with Soul Saver Dragon. That was simply what it was. I remember getting to grade 2. I remember committing. I committed for the crit. No, sorry, that was in game 2. I didn't commit for the crit in game 1. It was. I think I did get a crit though on Blaster Blade when I attacked Blaster Blade. But generally I was playing the game pretty safe. I think I was saving my hand for game 1. Game 2 is when I committed. But in game 1 I was trying to play a bit safe because I didn't really know what OTT was going to do. I didn't know all the new support. Even though I got a case of Silver Dust Blaze, I never really actually looked into what the all the cards do and that stuff. And yeah, but I think what it was that kind of screwed him over was so when I got to Soul Saver, and I did my Soul Blast 5 and what have you, I put Force 2 on one of my rear guards, and when I swung with my rear guard, he took that. I got a crit on Soul Saver, but he PG'd that. Well, he guarded it anyway. It wasn't a PG, it was Sentinel, but he effectively, he got rid of. He was able to guard Soul Saver, and then I swing with Palamedes on my final attack, and he no guards it, and I'm like, okay, cool. I guess he just didn't have enough to guard, but what he didn't do is he didn't pay attention to my Force 2. And then I was like, because it was at 4 damage and he didn't pay attention, because he just took it as 1 damage. I'm presuming, so what he said my marker was, to explain it, my marker was like that, and he was saying he didn't notice it being Force 2 on my rear guard. So because of that, he didn't notice it. I didn't bother to say crit 2 because I thought he would have noticed that. So that's what he said. That's the reason he didn't guard it, because he didn't notice it being Force 2. So there you go. That happens. That's life. Game 2, I remember just the game playing out normally. I committed to the crit, which was quite a bit weird, but anyway, he guarded that. He effectively, the way the game went is I went to do a Soul Saver turn. He guarded a lot earlier. He tried to keep himself at low damage, and then he would obviously survive my Soul Saver, and then he went into the Ichikishima and then just killed me because I just didn't have the hand to guard. And then this is where I'm going to say that even though I had won the game, I'm going to say that in my mind it was 1-1, and that there's still a game to be played, and there was a reason for this. Because in the third game, the game was going perfectly fine, and he was going for his first road into Ichikishima, and I thought I had the hand to survive, which it turns out I did in the end, which was cool. And he did say that I would have won because of we were in time. But the misplay or the thing that he did was he done something to do with Amaterasu, and Amaterasu, the god of sun Amaterasu skill being mandatory. I wasn't sure what part of it was mandatory. But anyway, because of that, it apparently it changed some part of the game state because he used Temposphere after, and basically it made an irreversible game state that he couldn't fall back on, and so he effectively disqualified himself. We were talking about it after to try and figure it out. I had the grade 1 PG, so because of the way the game was going, I would have been able to keep myself at 3 damage, and then I've gone to my turn, and then I would have ended my turn, and then he would have lost. So officially, yes, it is confirmed that we did figure out a game state, but at the same time, we don't know his triple drive, we don't know certain other factors that could have changed the state of the game. Who knows? That's why, in a way, it was like, yes, it was a guarantee. From what we discussed and figured out, it would have been a win for me. But, however, in a way, I feel a bit. I don't know. I feel like it wasn't fair the fact that he won, that he lost that way to that kind of mistake. But hey, that's the way the game works. Sometimes irreversible game states happen. It's a shame that it happened, but nonetheless it did. So, count it as a win for me officially, or 1-1, and I don't know. Up to you. How you decide. Maybe post in the comments view. See what you think. Actually, tell me what you think on the overall matter. If maybe I've got the wrong mindset, I don't know, but I do feel like the guy, for being such a good player as he is, sometimes mistakes like that can happen. But nonetheless, I do think it was a wonderful fight, especially for game 1 and 2. It was amazing, and I do look forward to the next card fight with him as well. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay safe, keep yourself going through this tough time, and hopefully I'll get back to doing more content as well. And there should be a combo video for this deck as well coming up in a couple of days maybe. So until then, guys, I'll see you all next time.